Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Call Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rekar Kadash. This is Ayah Shaddad from Men of Valor, Las Vegas camp, coming to you today with a lesson on Salakia. Just a quick lesson on really the V and the mark of the beast, just to show you some quick clips and some scriptures. All right, double honors to the apostles, a great millstone, to the Akim out there teaching and preaching this truth with all sincerity, to the men, women, and children listening and learning, to the Bayasha double dot, the 144,000 elect men of the house of David. Without further ado, let me go ahead and get into the lesson. Lord willing, it's edifying.
We believe that only American citizens should vote in American elections, which is why the time has come for voter ID, like everything else. Voter ID. You know, if you go out and you want to buy groceries, you need a picture on a card. You need ID. You go out and you want to buy anything, you need ID and you need your picture. In this country, the only time you don't need it, in many cases, is when you want to vote for a president, when you want to vote for a senator, when you want to vote for a governor or a congressman. It's crazy. It's crazy. The most popular person in the history of the Republican Party is Trump. Can you believe that? So I said, does that include Honest Abe Lincoln? You know, he was pretty good, right? I used to tell them all the time, the fake news, I'd say, I can be more presidential than any president in history, except for possibly Abe Lincoln with a big hat. I don't know if I can. Abe looked pretty presidential, right? What do you think? He's tough. He's tough. I admit it, Abe Lincoln is tough. But we love Abe Lincoln. Complete the biometric entry-exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately. For years, Congress has required biometric entry-exit visa tracking systems. In my administration, we will ensure that this system is in place. And I will tell you, it will be on land, it will be on sea, it will be in air. We will have a proper tracking system.
Okay, so if you forgot your ticket to a game, a soccer game in Argentina, it's not a problem because you can use the microchip that's been embedded under your skin.
So let's see if we can get into this particular. This is how I do it.
New at 9 in the Arkansas Congress, legislation that would regulate microchipping employees in Arkansas moves one step closer to becoming law. The proposal cleared its first hurdle by passing out of a House committee. Representative Stephen Meeks is working to get ahead of the emerging technology. He told his colleagues the practice of microchipping employees is only happening in the U.S. and Wisconsin. But when the technology comes to Arkansas, Meeks wants to make sure that employees are protected. His bill would allow them to opt out of getting microchipped without the threat of being fired. One of Meeks' constituents spoke against the bill.
I think small businesses that are not incorporated, that don't have that corporate protection from liability or accountability, as we should maybe call it, I think they should be allowed to make any kind of dumb rule they want to and impose it on their employees as a condition of employment.
Now, some of Meeks' colleagues were also critical of the bill. One representative, Mary Bentley, saying her constituents and she herself are in an uproar about this. Despite opposition, the bill passed with the condition that Meeks clean up some of the wording by amendments on the Senate side. If passed by the full House and Senate, this would be the first state law in the country that regulates microchipping.
You have local governments, they're pinpointed. It's really, you talk about, like a microchip. They're pinpointed. We have local government that hopefully will do a good job. And if they don't do a good job, I'd step in so fast. But no, they can't do anything without the approval of the President of the United States. The President's authority. Not mine, because it's not me. This is, when somebody's the President of the United States, the authority is total. And that's the way it's got to be. The authority is total.
With the global race to make a vaccine underway, scientists are now sounding the alarm about how to mass produce it.
People are worried about, do we have enough medical glass to be able to put all of these doses of the vaccine into vials so that they can be administered? And that's a serious issue to think about right now.
Late today, the Trump administration announced a new $138 million effort called Project Jumpstart to dramatically increase domestic production of syringes. The Departments of Defense and Health and Human Services will now partner with health startup Abiject Systems America. The company makes plastic pre-filled syringes.
Nobody has ever used an injectable pre-filled syringe made of plastic in the tens of millions or even in the millions, because nobody had ever figured out how to attach a needle to a plastic-filled container with a drug.
In an exclusive interview, CEO Jay Walker says the syringe will be made faster and will cost less than $1 to produce, much cheaper than the cost of making glass vials to hold vaccines.
Not only did it take 6 months or more to make, that's if you need millions. If you need tens of millions or hundreds of millions, they could take way longer to make. So that's a big problem.
And those glass vials are largely manufactured overseas. There's also the stoppers needed to close the vial. Experts warn that our reliance on an overseas supply chain is a major national security issue. Public health experts say that a COVID-19 vaccine might require 2 doses to ensure immunity. That would mean about 650 million doses just for the U.S. population alone.
We've been leaning in on this supply chain to ensure that when a vaccine is ready to go, we will have the necessary supplies to actually administer it.
There is still no clear timeline for a vaccine, but experts say we must prepare for it now. Gabe Gutierrez, NBC News, New York. Hey, NBC.
She doesn't like when I say, there's
urgent invention in the world right now is a vaccine that prevents you from getting COVID-19. What vaccines do is they teach your immune system about the pathogen. This is the coronavirus, and this shape on its outside is called the spike protein. It grabs on to the cells in your body that have a particular receptor and get that cell to make billions of copies of this virus. Virus are just the spike, that thing on the surface, and you put it on something else. So there's no risk at all of causing the disease. One final way that's new and is promising is called the RNA vaccine. With RNA and DNA, instead of putting that shape in, You put instructions in the code to make that shape. So the Gates Foundation, along with a great number of partners, are looking at these different efforts. We've never created a new vaccine in less than 5 years. So this is urgent, and it's going to require incredible collaboration. It's going to have to go to 7 billion people. So I am optimistic that one of the vaccine efforts will give us vaccines in the next 18 months. And we'll make sure that it's produced in volume and that it's accessible to everyone in the world. That's how we're going to end this pandemic.
Drug maker Eli Lilly has launched the first study of a new type of COVID-19 treatment. In this case, Meg Terrell joins us now on the Newsline with the details. Hi, Meg.
Well, good morning, Joe. This is the first drug to enter human clinical trials that's specifically designed to fight COVID-19. It's what's known as an antibody drug, and Eli Lilly, along with its partner Accelera and the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, actually isolated this antibody from the blood sample of one of the first patients in the United States to recover from COVID-19. This is an antibody that specifically targets those spike proteins on SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19. They're going to be testing this, and they've already dosed the first patients in hospitalized patients with COVID-19. They expect the results by the end of June. This is really a safety and tolerability study, and if that goes well, they will move into a larger phase 2 trial in non-hospitalized COVID-19 patients. This is also an approach where they think it could be potentially preventive, so trying to protect vulnerable patients from getting infected with COVID-19. And this is the first of a few different approaches like this. Regeneron is also working on one, expected to start human trials this month as well. And this is about a month ahead of when we expected Lilly to get into human clinical trials. So it's moving very quickly. And Lilly says that it's already starting to scale up manufacturing to have potentially several 100,000 doses by the end of the year if these trials go well. So a real milestone this morning, the first drug specifically designed to fight COVID-19 entering human clinical trials, guys.
Lord willing, this video was edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bashem, Yahushai Bashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, to the Akim out there teaching and preaching this truth with all sincerity, to the men, women, and children listening and learning, to Bayasha Double Dot, House of David, of the hopeful luck of the 144,000. We almost out of here. This is Ayashatai. Shalom.